So I'm very happy to be here, and I want to show you some things that you can do with CryEngine, and also have some basic information. What is CryEngine and who is Crytek, if you never have heard about. Crytek overview. Crytek is a German-based game development studio with over 20 years of track record, AAA games. One of our most famous games is Far Cry, followed by the Crysis franchise and Rise Son of Rome. With our games, we set it up the standard within the games industry, and we have over like 800 patents that were adopted by our, let's say, competitors, or even further developed by our competitors, and to make this possible, what you're actually all looking for nowadays with all these immersive technologies. We also have a bunch of original IPs which are transformed to different kind of media, and we set it some kind of standard within the VR world with our games. One of the most best-selling games of all time still is The Climb, that was released, one of the launch titles for the Oculus Quest, it's now going to be released on the Quest as well. And then we had the launch title for PSVR, which called Robinson: The Journey, which gives you a really, really good overview of what is possible in immersiveness, but also in visual fidelity, because CryEngine is a very, very mighty tool. So the other side is CryEngine. So Crytek is not just doing these games and stuff like that and investing heavily into R&D and stuff, but we also have this CryEngine since the very first beginning, because we wanted to make games no one could do back in the days. So we developed an engine, and we continue with our development on a regular base. And I will show you some products and possibilities, what can be done within CryEngine. And if we're also talking about XR, it's also like the Bose. It's not just about a visual component, even it's known for its visual fidelity. It's more about using this kind of technology to combine it all together to make the best experience ever. So core business, video games and publishing, and then of course, the technology of CryEngine. So CryEngine is a core technology for media and industrial applications. So it's the only well-known real-time engine from Europe with 20 years of reputation. The only 100% real-time engine. This is very, very serious. We take this very serious. CryEngine was the first engine with a 100% real-time approach, especially in something like lighting and physics. The first engine with 100% real-time lighting, the time of day, and thousands of things. We have like earned over than 150 awards for all the different components and systems, but the others doing a great job as well. And you know Unity and Unreal so well because most of you are working also with mobile devices. CryEngine decided not to go on mobile back in the days because there's a meme in the internet that was called "Can it run Crysis?" So, and we figured out that mobiles back in the days couldn't run Crysis at all. So we stick to PCs and consoles, and this is going to change by this year when we're going to release the Climb on the Quest, and then later next year by the beginning of Q1 when we release our version 5.7, you can be able to develop on mobile devices in a complete different level of what, when it comes to rendering power, performance, and visual fidelity. So we work in different kind of fields like film and animation, tourism, architecture, real estate, infrastructure planning and smart cities, automotive, which is obvious, and training and simulation. I picked a few things by our testimonials because if you're working in the enterprise sector, it's not easy to get your clients actually ready for having a kind of public release because most of the things are very, let's say, they do under the hood. But we had the chance to pick a few. So I skipped this slide because let's go to the use cases. So what we do, we're also running an educational program, so you will be able to find highly educated developers within that will be able to develop for and in CryEngine. There are some other engines on the market that have the same engine core base, like Lumberyard and stuff like this, or if you come from, let's say, professional development, mainly not out of Unity, I would say more Unreal, then the adoption is not too hard to go to CryEngine as well. CryEngine's foundation in natural language is C++ and C#, so it's very easy to implement any kind of APIs and plugins that is needed for your business. So I'll just give you a few examples. We work pretty closely with our licensees and partners. So the enterprise solutions is mainly made for that if you have running into certain kinds of issues or you have a specific need, so we are very responsive within your requests. We are always available. You have a dedicated key account manager. So we focus a lot on business side. So we're working together closely with the French authorities, and this is one of the products. It's was made with a French studio called Inodo. They're doing a lot of large scale. This is a complete interactive experience running on 2D and also in VR, which was meant to showcase a large scale area in different level of details, but the initial application is more about to make a proof of concept for the new rondel, the on the A480, how it's going to look like, how it's going to be implemented within the area. So it was a stakeholder information, but also some value information that could be taken out of the app itself. But I will talk about this later more. So we use the actual given data, like traffic data and stuff like that. And the most interesting part of it was you saw the rondel. We were asked, is it possible if you could reduce the radius of the rondel itself by 2 degrees, because it would save a lot of money, and the whole thing was built in a very, how you call this, in a special environment where the ecological footprint was a very sensitive topic to the stakeholders over there. So we simulated this as well within the given data of traffic and stuff like that, and figured out that yes, we can reduce it by minus 2 degrees. It saved a lot of money just by construction. The ecological footprint was way less, and still we made sure that within the simulations that the traffic will never get more stuck than it's done than it's on a natural, or that's anyway. Here's some overviews and oversights. So we were given the actual blueprints. Even I shouldn't talk about blueprints because this is more Unreal stuff, but now to be serious, we were given the blueprints, the CID data, all the technical informations. Actually it was Inodo, and we supported them with writing some plugins, because this we tried a few things with BIM and some special kind of formats which hadn't been implemented to CryEngine so far. And so it was about interactive traffic and noise abatement, measurement simulations based on given input, of course the stakeholder education with an interactive application. So the cool thing about it is that you can do all of it. You can get some valuable information and data sets out of it, and you also can inform the potential stakeholders. So this is a project we already did like in 2012, more or less the same, especially when it comes to infrastructure planning on large-scale areas. CryEngine is pretty mighty. So we used the world map data given by Google Maps back in the days, and this was about the upcoming metro, or the planned metro for Nice area. And so we simulate like everything, how the station's going to be look like, where are they located. You could even, we had like information desk within Nice where the people could experience the application in 2D, 3D, and they could make a choice if they how they want to have the stations look like, if they think it's going to fit into the environment, if they want to they could even choose different kind of colors and so on and so forth. So it was pretty complex, and all of the things were exactly built like this, like we simulated it up front. So we also do this for different kind of partners worldwide, especially when it comes to smart city planning. And everything that I showcase over here, I mean, it's easier to showcase in a 2D screen level, but also can run in VR, and in the future also on AR. So what the task was over here to make sure, so how, if you plan a new environment or a new, let's say, quartier, how the weather conditions, how traffic conditions, how everything has an impact of the actual new urban quartier. And this is also, I mean, a thing done already like a few years ago, where we could simulate all weather conditions, things that happen in real life, but even things that couldn't happen in real life. So this is, I mean, one of the benefits that a game engine or a real-time engine can give to you. And this is not, of course, CryEngine unique, but a few things are still CryEngine unique. So another one, so I was trying to focus a lot of this urban planning because it's a very, very strong field of market for us business, a very strong business. And because when it comes to large-scale areas, and to performance and to some kind of visual fidelity, I mean, this looks like a regular simulation, but actually the area includes the whole city. And you can literally jump from one point to another seamlessly. You can explore like almost everything. And this is something that CryEngine has a benefit when it comes to our competitor, when it comes to the overall power performance of rendering, simulation, and stuff like that. So a lot of French-driven projects. And just another thing, I'm skipping the videos because, I mean, I'm the last speaker. I'm sure you all want to have a drink. I want to have a drink as well because yesterday was great. And so we can talk a little bit more informal. This is just a little, oops, I skipped it. Can I go back? Yes. It should run as well. No, this was just a comparison video to showcase how the things look in real life after it's been, let's say, set it up in CryEngine. And this is already, I mean, it's fantastic if you can do large-scale areas with all the different BIM levels and stuff like that. And then you can manipulate them, you can transform them, whatever you want to do. And I mean, you all know this kind of business cases. So CryEngine in adaptation for architecture and interior design, just a few render samples and a little video. This is also running in VR. And as a lot of people, especially for this kind of things, like interior design, architecture, are keen about ray tracing, we announced our very own ray tracing solution at the GDC this year in March, which is hardware agnostic and runs entirely in the engine, which will be released finally at version 5.7 by next year. And you don't have to have any kind of Intel card or an RTX card or anything like that. It runs on runs on any let's say mid-class graphic cards. We demoed it on a Vega 56, which is around about $300, and it was pretty impressive. So we're going to support the official or the other RTX technologies like Intel RTX and some others. They're upcoming in the market as well, but we have a pretty own solution which works out of the engine without having a need of a special kind of code or anything. So some other examples of visual samples. We have some, I mean, you maybe recognize this kind of building. We have some partners which work in since many, many years, like Norman Foster Architects with CryEngine to use it for their kind of work they have to do if it comes to previs. Then you can choose in between different worlds, different style. It can be stylized, it can be hyper-realistic, not even photorealistic. This is also one thing that the engine is capable of. So just a small variety of things, and then I come over to something, because we had a previous talk, a previous speaker, Dimitri from Tesla Suit. And we announced an official cooperation with Tesla Suit just like 3 weeks time ago, 2 weeks, 2.5, at the Gamescom and DevCom, where we also showcased the first examples. When it comes to virtual training, we are pretty active in that area as well. And he showcased you whoever took, I don't know, not all of you have seen that presentation, but there's a lot of benefit if you add the physical world to the virtual world, especially when it comes to this kind of motion capturing, haptic sensors, biometrical measurement analysis tools. And we're doing stuff like this since a few years with ThyssenKrupp and also Blom & Voss and 4 others. And on a very high complex level with industry-grade simulators, also working fully in VR, where we have the opportunity, or where we can train actually 2 different, let's say, 2 different departments at the same time. On one side, within the industry-grade simulator, we train the command crew, the steering crew. On the other hand, we can train up to 16 people simultaneously as a multi-user experience on the technical level, both at the same time. So they interact together, do this on a classical PC base with all the data analytics and everything like this. And in the future, we will also have the opportunity to implement all this physical and haptic stuff, which is let's say, a large advantage to others, because you can still do it on projects, or you will be able to do it on projects that really rely on not just the best visual fidelity, but also best performance. And this is a true measurement that we made when it comes to large-scale environments and heavy load scenes. And there was this presentation like yesterday about medical, where he mentioned that they were running into issues because they couldn't accomplish more than 60 milliseconds delay within an application, and for VR you need to have a minimum 20 milliseconds. We figured out, and our partners figured out, that within CryEngine, especially when it comes to VR, the engine itself, the core engine, is so powerful that you can easily achieve that. So as you can see over here, different tasks are executed within the training session. So you have the different kind of instructors, but I have a short chart here where you can see all the benefits out of this project. And yeah, this is something I wanted to show to you as well. So it was first released in 2016, but it's in constantly development, not just content-wise, but also in functionalities. It's adaptable. It was meant to be a training solution at the very first beginning, but nowadays also used for marketing, sales, especially for sales, for new upcoming generation of ships and stuff like that. They can show the clients the full ship, the functionalities, but also can train all the technical crew, all the maintenance crew, and all the steering command crew up front. And when the ship or the submarine, whatever, is finally released, you have the perfect educated crew. So adoption in automotive, just like a short overview. What we do, we created some kind of tool within Cinebox, which is a part, or was a part of CryEngine, and will be, in an adapted way, will be a part again of CryEngine, which gives you or hyper-realistic opportunities to create stunning environments and shots. And this was meant originally to just create a previous tool so you can plan your shooting accordingly. Back in the days, I was CEO of Pixamondo, and we used it. Within 3 months, we were able to skip the finally shooting because the visual quality was like, bam, and all the everything that you could do within. You could change like colors, settings, time of day, weather condition. All the things you cannot do if you shoot for real. So these are just a little overview of the things that you can do within CryEngine and everything, and that's the cool thing. In the same visual quality and fidelity, you can do it in VR. So just a short more about R&D. 3 projects I picked, and then you released for the drinks and stuff. CryEngine R&D. We did a prototype, proof of concept more or less, for Deutsche Bahn, which was meant to be to train the conductors, because most of the trains within German Deutsche Bahn Railroad are not happening because of not educated conductors. You need to have at least the so-called Streckenkunde. That means that you had to go to a specific route minimum by once already before you got the allowance to do so in full speed. So, and if you don't have this kind of knowledge, you can go by 60 miles an hour, or you can choose not to go for it. So this cost Deutsche Bahn a lot of money. So we developed a system which can reflect all different things like time of date, analysis. You can steer and remote control the trains. You can train the engine man. And this is industry grade level and saves a lot of time and money. And you can choose the tracks, and the idea behind it is to accomplish all 55,000 kilometers of tracks within Germany within 3 years' time. Then we're working on a research project with actually a Swiss-based company called Real 3D. It's light field rendering in real time in engine. Light field rendering in engine will change the market completely, because you don't have to care anymore about eye tracking. You don't have to care about forfeited rendering anymore, because your maximum resolution will be like full HD, because a light field rendered image is completely different to anything that you explored before. That means actually it's a natural way of seeing things in VR. If you look at an object, let's say I recreate this scene over here, and then I look at you, my eyes focus. When I look at you, my eyes focus at you, everything else get, like blurred out, and I see you in focus. This is what's happening in VR and even in 2D or AR in 2020, late 2020 as well, when you are actually doing this light field rendering in the engine itself, because you have 64 or 32 to 64 sub-images per frame, with all the different kind of depth information and also different kind of angled information. So what this means for you, when you're looking at a kind of image, you will experience a natural focus shift, which was never explored before in any kind of this medium. So this will change in my opinion, this will change a lot. And I also can tell that, we are now working with different kind of headsets and headset supporters and developers that's going to come out in the market by next year. A lot of 5G is involved, a lot of different kind of technology like mixed or the first true X reality headsets, which can instantly change from VR to AR based on 5G. Things like this are going to come to the market next year, which will be pretty much interesting. It's not going to be the absolute game changer at once, but it will give us all an idea of what will the future be like. And even on the AR level or mixed reality level, there are going to come a few devices, completely different form factor, lightweight, resolution up to 8K, 160 or 150 degrees field of view, and they can be driven within, or you can develop in CryEngine to generate like world-class experience. And that's it. So I want to have a drink because my mouth is dry. I thank you for your attention. And if you have some questions, don't ask me, just write me an email. No, kidding. Just, you can call me or you can just ask me whatever. I'm here. I'm leaving tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m., so you need to hurry up. Thank you so much.